Hey YouTubers, I just want to talk a little bit about Sam Zell. I don't know if you know he's a famous billionaire. I think in the 1980s, early 90s, they called him the grave dancer. He's pretty famous for buying distressed assets and at a fairly steep discount, and has become fairly wealthy over the years. Anyways, Sam Zell says sell. He's saying in the next 12 months we could have a recession, which I think is fairly accurate. And he said some maybe unkind words about the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Let me think now. What's her name? Oh yeah, Janet Yellen. Anyhow, I just want to comment on what Sam Zell said in an article in Bloomberg. He's basically saying we have such a strong dollar now, and we have such a slowing economy overseas, and this strong dollar, we've seen commodities just basically crash, especially like oil, silver, gold a little bit. Gold's gone from like 1900 down to like 1100 or 1060 or something like that, in that range. Um, and so he's commenting on the interest rate increase of 25 basis points, which don't really amount to much. That's pretty amazing that Janet Yellen thinks the economy is actually improving. Actually, if we look at the evidence around the world, most of the first world countries, anyways, are in recession. Most of Asia is either slowing down or in recession, and it's basically in the U.S. that's barely chugging along. I'm not even sure if we're growing at a 1% anymore, but I remember the days when the U.S. economy would grow at 2 or 3%. That was way back in the Stone Age. Anyhow, Sam was commenting on the half a percent or the quarter point uh, interest rate increase, saying it was a little too late, which I agree. I personally don't think the Federal Reserve is going to raise interest rates next year. It says they're going to raise rates three or four times, but I really don't think so. I think as the economy slows down in the U.S., that they're going to be in panic mode. I think they're flying blind already. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing. I think when Janet Yellen says things are improving, I think she's pretty far from reality. It's amazing that the Keynesians who kind of run our economy, the bureaucrats, the politicians, they're all basically Keynesians. They don't know what they're doing. They're in panic mode. We have low interest rates right now. Raising them a quarter point won't do anything. So when the next recession comes, they basically shot their wad. Like, what are they going to do? Go to negative rates? Yep, I think they'll go to negative rates. And when that happens, I think you're going to probably see gold really take off. And as a side effect, you'll see silver really explode. But until then, I believe we're going into a recession, and we could expect gold not to do much, and possibly silver will go down a little bit more, and possibly oil will. There could be bottoming out here, but it could be another deflationary type scare, some event in the marketplace, or in geopolitics could send gold, oil, silver a little lower, maybe 20%, and send the dollar up pretty high. I mean, we're seeing an interesting immigrant crisis in Europe playing itself out, and I think that's going to keep the euro down. Personally, I think the euro economy is dead for the next 10, 15 years. I think the whole situation in Europe, where Europeans are somewhat being taken over by their socialist policies and their immigration policies, make it so that if you actually live in Europe, I'd be immigrating to the U.S. or Canada or somewhere in Latin America, somewhere in the Americas. Uh, it'll just be a much better future for you. If you're in Europe and you have to stay there, I would be in Germany or any of the German-speaking countries, including Switzerland. I know they're not in the EU, but I'd either be in the German countries or be in England. If you don't have to be there, if you can expat, Canada, the U.S., anywhere in Latin America. But anyways, that's just my comments on where the economy is going and what the Federal Reserve policy is and what they're saying publicly. Anyhow, thanks. Comment, like the video, subscribe.